Alright, and welcome once again. This is our lesson 2 of our Adobe XD course. And previous video we talked about Adobe XD, what it is, what interface and user experience is all about, and then we created our first project. Now in this lesson, this second lesson 2, we're going to talk about wireframing, and we talk about how we can save our project. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to create a new file, and this time around it's going to be a mobile app, so we're going to design more mobile apps. So I just go to file here. You can just also use the shortcut, that's Control N. So I'll click here, Control N, and I'm going to select the first one, that is iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'll click on it, and then I will have my project created for me. So the artboard, now we know what an artboard is. So an artboard will be the size of an iPhone 14 Pro Max with the name here. Now what can we do on this? We can actually change the name of our artboard. Talking about mobile applications, we can have a sign-in page, sign-out page, home page. Alright, so we need to create an artboard for all of these. And how are we going to do that? Now we have only one artboard here. We want to add multiple artboards. Okay, so the first thing, we're going to rename this artboard to maybe a splash screen. A splash screen is a new, the screen that will appear, and then maybe after some seconds it will move on to the main page. So I'm going to name it splash screen. There are two ways we can use to rename this. We can come to the artboard collection and then right click and then go to rename. Okay, and then change the name to splash screen. Okay, you can you can change the name to splash screen. Okay. Or we can also double click on the name on top here, and then we can type our name for it. So whatever name you want to give to it, you can just do it right here. Okay, splash screen. So when I press on enter, it will also affect this because they're the same thing. So now I see I have splash screen right here, and then I have splash screen right on top here. So this is our first artboard. Now we can create multiple artboards, and there are different ways we can do it. I'm going to show you two of them. Okay, I'm going to show you actually three. Now we can actually duplicate this one from here. That is Control D, or right click and then click on duplicate. It's actually going to create a duplicate of what we have right here. Okay, so we can change the name. We can as well also drag. Okay, now we can drag this by holding the Alt key on the keyboard and then dragging on it. So we can create another artboard right here. So now we have 3 artboards. Alright. Or we can also click on the artboard tool here, the artboard tool, and then we scroll down to select, that is iPhone 14 Pro Max we use. So you can just click on it to create another artboard. So now we have 4 artboards right here. Okay, so this is going to be the sign-in page. Alright, so we have the sign-in page. And then we have the sign up page. Alright, renaming all of them. We're actually going to use one, but I'm showing you how we can deal with all of these. So we have sign up page also here. So for a best practice, you need to rename your artboards so that you can see them, you can work on them. Okay, so we have the splash screen, we have the sign in page, we have sign up page, before we move on to the home page. So we have the home page right here. Good. And we have them here. So these are the artboards that we are creating. Now what you need to know is that whenever you are designing any UI, you need to design all the pages that you want to be part of your app. So you design all the pages so that the developers will also look at it and then design it. Now we are done with our artboards. These are 4 artboards that we have created. We can now go ahead and then save it. So to save it, you can press Ctrl+S, or you can go to File and go to Save As. All right, and then it will open up for you, and you can just select where you want to keep it. Now I'm going to keep it here. Okay, so I'll say lesson 2, right? Lesson 2 right here, and I'll just click on it, and you see that now the title of the page should change to lesson 2. So after the save, okay, you see it has now changed to lesson 2, and from here you can also, you see that the title has changed. You can also if there are different projects in it, you can also select a drop down from here, which will give you access to open some recent projects. Okay, so these are the artboards that we have, and we're actually going to concentrate on one of them. We're actually going to concentrate on one of them, and then we're just going to do something to it. All right, so we're going to talk about wireframing. What is wireframing? Now after okay, so after you have your project idea, you go through your planning, and then you go through your sketching, then you have to improve on the design. The next thing is to do a wireframing. A wireframing is when you present your design digitally. Okay, now this is going to be the first impression, how you intend to tackle the project. So you're just going to do some sort of a sketch also on Adobe XD to show to your clients what the design or the website or the app is going to look like. So this is the first point you're going to do. That is, you do a wireframing. That is a low fidelity wireframing, sort of the design that you are going to do. All right, so we are going to work on this splash screen wireframing. Now the first I'm going to do is to design the layout of the mobile app. Okay, a sort of a phone that we're going to use. So I'll select my rectangle from here. And then draw it across my artboard. Okay, now I'll draw it across my artboard. Okay, I just want to have some, okay, like this. So, and there is going to be the phone, the size, the design of the phone that I'm going to use, not exactly this. So you can see that when you draw it, you can see some squares at the corner. Okay, some small squares at the corner. We can use this to, let me actually increase the space right here so that you can have more space. Let me see. Okay, so we have our phone design right here, and we want to actually see it clearly. So what I will do is that this is the point I'm going to introduce the property area. So this is the property. Whatever layout you add to the screen, it has its own properties, and this is the properties of the rectangle I have used. I'll move on to this place. This is the radius. Okay, the radius, checking up on the radius of the layout I've used. I can set out my radius, so let's say 10, and then you can see that the edges have been curved. All right, you can see that the edges are now curved. I can equally hold this this button here to increase the radius. Okay, I can hold this one to increase and decrease the radius. Okay, so let's set maybe to 5 right here, and you can see that all of them will be set to 5. So that is the property area. I can also change the fill color here to whatever color that I want. So you can see whatever color I select from the color swatch, it will change. But this time around I want white, so I'll just leave it like that. And then I can also change the border color and the border size from here. I have the border size, I'm going to make it 5. Alright, and then I can also change the border color right here. So this is what I have on my on my rectangle. Okay, so this is what I have on my rectangle. Alright, I also have the opacity, that is the transparency of the design. So you can see that as I increase it and as I reduce it, it takes effect. Alright, so this is, so let me change this to 5. So I can change it to whatever size that I want. Alright, I can change the edges to any size that I want, and I can zoom in to look at it. Alright, so with the splash screen I can use whatever shape that I want to use. I can just use it to create it, but this time I'm creating the phone. So let me go back to create my phone. Now when you're on this, you can create, we are creating this phone layout, and we will use it in all the designs that we're going to do. So let's go ahead and then create this phone size right here. Okay, change my borders to 5. Alright, I need 2 of this, so I'm going to duplicate this by holding the Alt key and then dragging it. Alright, I can just hold that and then drag it, or I can just press Ctrl D to duplicate it. So now you see you have rectangle 2, then rectangle 1. Alright, so I can just resize my rectangle to how I want it to be. Okay, I'll have something like this. Okay, alright, so this is my layout, and I want to add some circle right here. So there is an ellipse, so if you want to create a perfect circle, you have to hold down the shift key on the keyboard, then you drag it whilst you want to create it. You keep dragging and then hold down the shift key, and then now you can just place it in the middle. Okay, you can also fill it with a different color to match. So this is my color. So this is the design that I have done for my mobile layout. Okay, and I'm going to use the same layout for all the ads boards, but we are working on this ads board, so let's concentrate on this then. So this is the splash screen, and on the splash screen you can see that sometimes there's the logo of the company and then the name of the app. It will just appear and then move on straight to the main app. So I'm just going to use some square to represent the logo of the company. So I'm just going to draw a perfect square. So I'll select the rectangle, hold down the shift key, and then it will create a square for me. There's no shape, there's no tool for square, so we use the rectangle to create the shape of a square by holding down the shift key whilst dragging it. So this is going to be our logo. So I'll apply some name, so logo right here. Now on our text, we can increase it by dragging on the small circle under it, then we place it right here. So this is going to be our logo right here. So this is just wireframe, and I told you that during wireframe we don't use colors, we don't use any colors, because you are just going to present it to your client to see how the app is going to behave. So if you add colors, the attention will shift from the functionality to the colors. They will tell you, this is not my color, this is not my logo, this is not the, I don't like this color, I don't like this image. So to cut the whole thing short, you're just going to concentrate on using the black and white colors to create the wireframe. Alright, so this is what we will do for our splash screen. We just move on to our sign in page and then our sign up page. Okay, so I want to use the same layout, so I don't want to be creating it all over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the layout. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to select all the element that makes up the layout, and to select, I'm just going to hold down the shift key and select the element one after the other. After that, I will just right click here and then go to group in order to group your layout. So I'm going to call this layout. Alright, that is the mobile layout, and then I can move them together. They are separate layouts, but now I've grouped them so I can just move them once. Okay, so with that said and done, I can now duplicate, holding down the shift the Alt key, sorry, and then drag it to create a new layout on the sign in page. Okay, I'm just going to create a sign in page, and then in our next video we'll move on to the home page. You can use the same idea to create your sign up page, because we are now dealing with the wireframing. So alright, so we're going to create our sign in page, and with me I want to have the logo repeated right here, so I'll just add the logo right here, and then I'll create my spaces, my input space with a rectangle, here. Remember, I'm not using colors, this is just wireframing my rectangle to create, and then finally my button will also appear here. Okay, so let me make use of this text, so I'll just copy it and say this is the username. It's too big, so let me decrease the size. So set the size to maybe 18 like this, and then now can duplicate to the password, and this is going to be my button. So I would like to create a button for it. This is going to be my button for sign in. So sign in. Alright, this is going to be my button. So there is a sign in page, and I like to create a remember me toggle right here. So I'll say remember me, and I'm going to create a toggle for it So let me zoom in. All right, zoom in right here. Remember me. Okay. I wish I could just copy this one. No, I'll duplicate this. There's nothing wrong with duplicating, okay, because you have already created the layout and you just want to make use of it, reusing it. So there's nothing wrong with reusing it. Okay, so you have a remember me button right here, and I'm going to apply some fill color to it like this. Alright, and I'll bring my circle right here. Okay, so this is how I want it to look like. So this is the idea I want to present as my splash screen and then sign-in page. In our next video, I'm going to talk about how we're going to design. We're just going to move on to the home page, because you can use the same thing for our sign up page, and that's going to be the assignment. Use the same thing for the sign up page, and I'll move on to creating our new page. Okay, alright, so thank you for watching this video. When we return in our next video, I'm just going to straight to designing a home page for our mobile application wireframe.